Yo, welcome back to the Audio Theory Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button as well as the subscribe button. What's good, Danny? How have you been?
I've been good, dude. Been good. It's going to be weird to say this. I was thankful after Thanksgiving to go back to work. I never thought I would say that shit, dude. But like, I had an extended break from like mid-Tuesday till yesterday, Monday. And bro, like by Friday, I was like, yo, what day is it? When do I go back to work? Like, I felt guilty, bro. And I was also like bored. I'm like, bro, like, how often can we keep just drinking at home? And
that's so weird that you say that, because I felt literally the exact same way.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know what it was, but I was like, what the fuck do I do with myself right now?
What do we do? Like, bro, like, I don't know. It's because you just came off vacation and I just came off from traveling. So maybe we weren't looking forward to so many days off. But bro, I'm telling you, by Friday afternoon, I was just like, I mean, like, should I respond to an email? Like, I don't even will anyone even respond to me? So, but the Thanksgiving break was dope. We stayed home. We went to the beach. Dude, honestly, it's clearly not a Floridian thing to go to the beach on Thanksgiving. I think most families are at home vibing with their loved ones. But dude, it felt like we had the beach to ourselves. It was just us and a bunch of tourists out there. I know it was tourists because these two people asked if they could sit next to us because we had a dope view. But her first question was like, "Do you speak French?" And then I was like, "Why would I speak French?" So that was a funny experience, but overall, super good Thanksgiving. Saw Black Panther. We saw Avatar because she's never seen it before. We want to go see the second one. Dude, she was like crying watching it.
That's so weird. I saw Avatar too with my.
Are you serious?
My dad played it. Yeah,
bro.
Like, his wife didn't see it, and he's like, "You want to watch Avatar on Sunday?" I'm like, "Sure."
Yo, how good is that movie?
It's great.
Bro, it's great. I'm telling you, when we saw it, I was either a freshman in college or a sophomore in college. So, dude, I don't know, dude. Like, a 20-year-old kid watching a 3.5-hour long movie, like, it just didn't do anything. I was like, that's cool. Like, whatever, cool graphics. Bro, as a 34-year-old watching that movie, under some influence of certain things, I was like, this is crazy, dog. Like, I was like, this is like the greatest movie ever made. So, dude, the fiance was like crying watching it, bro. So yeah, we had moments like that were pretty fun. And we played like beer pong for like 2 hours straight. So like we just had
I saw that.
Yeah, we just had like a fun coupley night. But it was like every night. So I was just like, damn, like what, like this, like I can't do this every day of my life.
Right.
So like I wasn't mad about going back to work, but yeah, dude, how was you? Because I know you traveled to LA to see the family. So how was your Thanksgiving break?
Yeah, it was great. I had the whole week off, so that was nice.
Fire.
And I think that happens every year. Like unofficially, it happens every year. Technically, they could decide that we say from Monday to Wednesday, but this year, fortunately, had the whole week off. Went down to LA midweek. And like you, honestly didn't do too much. Like I hung out at my dad's for a couple of days, hung out at my mom's for a couple of days, saw family and whatnot.
For like Thanksgiving, or do you have like two Thanksgiving?
So how it works every year, my mom and my aunt decide that one person will host Thanksgiving at their house and the other will do Christmas. It used to always be my aunt does Thanksgiving and my mom does Christmas, but several years ago it like flipped, and now my mom does Thanksgiving and my aunt does Christmas. I think it's because my aunt, actually I don't even know what the theory I was gonna say is, but I thought it was because her grandson was kind of young and she wanted to have that classic Christmas experience. Like
I got you. Okay.
But in any case, yeah, great food. Didn't do a whole lot. Like I mentioned, I was kind of sick in the beginning. First 4 days or whatever, so I was pissed because I was like, damn, I can't even really drink or like enjoy myself. But I guess the biggest thing I did was I got a tattoo I wanted to get for a minute on my upper arm, so slowly working on like a
show it now, or is it still
yeah. It's in the packaging. I don't know how, I mean, not packaging,
it's a plastic
wrapping. Yeah, so it might look fucked up on camera, but it's the top part, and probably hard to make the detail out, but
yeah,
it's essentially.
But what is that? Yeah,
it's a monkey pod tree, or some people call it a rain tree. I think there's another name for it, but it's native to, I believe, South America. I want to say Asia, but it's actually super common in Hawaii. every time me and my wife would go to Hawaii, I don't know, something about it just gave me peace. Like every single time I hung amongst those specific trees, and I just honestly loved the way they look. And then I dug into the meaning as well, just to make sure there wasn't some, like, I don't know, evil significance tied to it or something negative. But fortunately, it was quite the opposite. You know, all the cliche stuff like growth and prosperity and stuff. But I thought it was I was looking to add more significance to this arm, and I think the shape of it complemented the top area. So,
is that the same arm you have the lion on?
Yeah. So the lion's below it.
Nice.
Kind of weird. I didn't realize it until after I got it, but like having a fresh tattoo next to an older one kind of looks odd in the beginning because the color is so vibrant.
I've done that on this arm. So like it's just in the beginning. Like eventually it'll look the same. It's like because the top part is just like so fresh.
Yeah. But
nice. That's awesome. Have you been planning that one for a while, or did I just come to you like while you were like traveling recently?
I planned it after I'd probably say, I don't know, like 6 months ago.
Okay.
I had done at that point probably like maybe 4 trips to Hawaii. And like every single time I go, I just have the time of my life, even if I'm not doing that much except hanging out. But yeah, it was just kind of like an idea that came to me. I was like looking up shit about Hawaii and then saw the trees and was like, oh, this would be a dope piece of art.
For sure. That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. It just sucks like when we're like sometimes like when the climate's colder, you're like, when am I showing this off? Kind of thing.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing too. It's like, I know some people like to get super discreet ones, but for me, I'm like, it's art that I like seeing and I want to see it. Like,
right.
Yeah,
so that's how I feel. Like, so I got this for my mom, right? But like sometimes I wish like I would have done like on the inside of this arm so I could just see it more. You know what I mean? Because like everyone else sees this but me. So it's
it's tough. Because I like, for instance, that and other pieces I've seen like from different angles. I'm like, to me, it's super dope because I get to see it from this angle, but the person themselves isn't seeing it. But I guess the knowledge that, you know, it's on display is
and it's there. And you know the meaning behind it. It's not some like random fucking, you know, whatever, like dream catcher symbol or something. So that's awesome, dude. And the family's doing well?
Yeah, family's doing well. I don't think much has changed from what I gather amongst them. I know Corey specifically is doing some cool, like, I guess he's getting paid to create like a catalog of potential outfits for Nordstrom. Like, I guess Nordstrom will be like, here's, you know, some winter ideas for women, or like, here's, if you're, you know, returning to office and want to wear, you know, cool new business attire, here's some options. And I guess Corey somehow through his existing work got some gig doing that. So it's cool to hear about that. Yeah.
Dude. Anything in fashion, I know my boy's gonna excel at. So shout out to him. Cool. Hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving as well. But excited to do this. We only have a couple episodes left before the year is over. Dude, it's gonna be December tomorrow, 2 days from now. For the moment we're recording this. I feel November blew the fuck by.
Oh yeah, that shit was here and
like, yo, the fact that I was in San Fran with you back in October seems crazy because that shit feels like 2 weeks ago, let alone 2 months ago. Like,
no, that's insane.
Yo, crazy, man. But again, it just means, you know, like Courtney's saying, when shit's going by so fast, it means we're having so much fun. So not against that part. But a few things happened over the holiday break. I think the biggest one, making the blog. So obviously we want to respect the culture and talk about it. I guess Rowdy Rebel was on the Matt Hoffa podcast and was just discussing about the violence in hip hop, and the King Von shooting came up. And I think the person who's alleged, is it confirmed he's the murderer? Little Tim or
Little Tim? I think it's pretty much established that he was.
Right,
I don't know if the law enforcement said it, but
okay, that's what I was trying to say. I didn't know if like law enforcement said, yeah, it's him, but it was like self-defense, so that's why he's not in prison. Kind of.
Yeah, I think that's essentially the case. And either way, the footage, I believe, clearly shows him doing it. I'm pretty sure he probably like indirectly admitted it. So at this point in time, it's safe to say like he did it.
Got it. Yeah. So I guess there was a back and forth on that podcast about like what should have gone down. I think Rowdy Rebel is saying that this generation of artists and young black men are just too easy. And like, I think we've said this a million times on this podcast, unfortunately just don't have respect for human life, that another approach could have been taken at that moment. So your thoughts on that before we go into the other stuff like Bobby Shmurda and NBA YoungBoy?
Yeah, I fully agree with what the sentiment that Rowdy Rebel is trying to get across. But I also don't think, I think it's somewhat hypocritical, just given that I'm sure, you know, the gang he's affiliated with, you know, was involved in similar activity. And I also don't think it's necessarily realistic in every situation to be like, hey guys, let's take a second and realize what we're doing here is, you know, wrong, and, you know, taking it to the extreme. Like when you're in a high intensity situation like that, where just fists are flying and guns are being drawn from other people, like it's not realistic in those cases to think rationally. And people apply this same logic to like, I don't know, situations with like, I don't know, police and criminals. Like, why didn't he just do this? Why didn't he just do that? And hindsight's 2020, especially if you're not even fucking in that situation. But in any case, I think there needs to be a greater discussion on, you know, the violence that's taking place in hip hop. But unfortunately, the people that are owning these conversations, or at least triggering them, aren't the best spokespersons in my opinion.
Yeah, because I think he was saying that it could have been, like, to your point, he could have like Lil Tim. There's Lil Tim or Lil Tub?
Lil Tim. Low, okay, like so, Lul. I don't know why, but
got you. Okay, so he was saying that he could have simply just warned people like, "Yo, back the fuck up. You know, don't approach me." Blah blah blah. And it's like, bro, but I also remember as a kid hearing this in movies or from like, dude, I grew up in like a relatively nice area, but like when I used to hang out at my dad's store, it wasn't the best area. I would hear people like, bro, if you ever pull out a knife or a gun, you need to prepare to use it.
Yep.
Right? So the idea that you're going to pull out a weapon, aim it at someone, and you expect the other person to also be like, yeah, let's have a conversation.
Right.
Dude, it's too late. You know what I mean? Right. So it's one thing if you like lift your shirt and be like, bro, like, I'm not trying to get, like, you don't want this, I don't want this, keep it moving. But the idea of like, because he physically was like, no, dude, like, and I was like, bro, that's not happening. Like, I don't know what fucking hood you're from in New York, but bro, that would never happen.
Right. And on top of that, it's King Von, who's like known to be the person to end lives, or at least he claims to. And on record, you know, there are murders that are pinned to him. He had like 10 of his homies in the vicinity. So if shit did go left, they're at a clear disadvantage. And I believe in the footage, I think academics confirmed that King Von's homies had pulled out their firearms as well. And there is an instance where one of the guys actually, I think, leans over Lil Tim after Lil Tim gets shot, but fortunately the gun jams and Lil Tim ends up not getting executed, basically. So if Lil Tim hadn't have done any of that, like,
he would have been
situation, like the situation could have been way worse. And also I think King Von was the one who instigated all of this in the first place. So it's difficult. Like, I think the biggest thing is we like making these stop the violence arguments when our favorite rapper is the casualty. Yeah. That's really what it is. If this was a random ass person, I highly doubt any of these celebrities or rappers or whatever would be speaking on it at this level.
Dude, I totally agree, man. This can like pivot. I know it's on the rundown, but it's kind of related. So I recently rewatched the Drink Champs interview with Quavo and Rest in Peace to Takeoff. And then they even brought up in the interview, like, how they try in a creative way to not talk about violence because they're like, they don't want that, you know, they don't want that energy to come back towards them, right? And like Quavo was hinting at little line, they would change it up. I'm like, bro, I don't think the universe works on like, you know, analogies, bro. Like you're putting that energy out regardless, bro.
Yeah.
Because you say it in a super slick way doesn't change the intent of your comment. You know what I mean?
Right.
So stuff like that, like even watching those interviews make me cringe because I'm like, bro, like this kind of is like what you were saying you were trying to avoid, but really you weren't, bro, because like you're rapping about this shit nonstop. And then according to Instagram and according to Cardi B, like Offset is going through it right now. Just fucking devastated that he lost, you know, one of his good friends, blah, blah, blah. But he's also promoting a song that he has with Future. And bro, the snippet he put out is all about killing people. And I'm just like, bro, like, which is it? You know what I mean? Like, which is it? And it's sad, bro, because clearly, like, that doesn't change that, like, people can be, like, contradictive, right? Like, I'm sure he is mourning his friend and is feeling awful. But, fam, you're also putting out similar energies that if you were to follow through with that, there'd be other families mourning someone else. You know what I mean? So it's like, to your point, like, it's just so hard to even take these specific people serious. Because it's like, bro, but then like, if you really feel this way, then fucking change your music, my guy. Like, it's just like, it's not like Tupac, Brenda had a baby and like Pac is like saying, I witnessed this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're literally saying you did this or you would do this. So it's just like, bro, I feel for you. But then it's like, bro, you can't also want me to believe you on a track when you want to sell millions of records and you're telling me that you're ready to pull a trigger the moment anyone even looks at you, bro.
Yeah. And I remember seeing that clip as well. And it was so odd to me because I felt like that was the first time where like pretty much every bar was about like gun violence. Whereas most of the time, like the Migos will kind of sprinkle it in. But for some reason, this clip, it was almost like he did it on purpose, like to be hypocritical. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like it was only about guns, that whole clip.
I was like, I've never ever seen you act this way, bro.
Like, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have any bars that were that like just blatantly, I'm gonna shoot you. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, dude. So that's my thing, man. It's tough. I feel like it's a conversation that needs to be had because I think it gets enough of us talking about it. Maybe something would change. I don't know if it's, record executives telling them like, bro, we're not going to keep bumping this out if you guys are going to get killed every other year or some shit.
Yeah.
But it's just tough when it's like those specific people, like artists saying, hey, stop doing this. It's like, bro, you stop doing it. And then maybe like you have a big enough platform that if they see like, yo, we can make music doing other things, then all right, cool. I'll stop talking about gun violence and shit. Right?
Yeah.
So that's just the tough part, bro. But dude, Rebel sounded super passionate, right? And I think he actually believes everything he's saying. But then I still think he believes everything he's saying on a record that's about fucking blowing your brains out. So that's the fucking tough part for me to take it seriously.
Yeah. And that's not to say that, people can't, evolve and change over time. Because, I mean, when they both came out of prison, Rowdy and Bobby, like, I did sense a shift in energy. I was actually, even though people made fun of Bobby, twerking or whatever, I was proud to see him not waving guns and Instagram lives and shit. I was like, at least he's not doing any of that. Because, like, Tekashi and all these other people a lot of times just go straight back to, threatening people and shit.
It's all they know. Yeah.
That's all they know. And then it seems like now we're back to square one with Bobby making threats and like butting in. And it's just so weird to me how quickly, a couple exchanges on Twitter can pull these guys back into violence mode.
Yeah, so to give the listeners context, I guess Bobby Shmurda was upset that NBA YoungBoy and a Quando Rondo song came out that was like kind of like talking about him killing King Von.
Oh, King Von. Yeah, I don't know if he necessarily was upset about the song, but I think NBA YoungBoy responded to Rowdy Rebel's comments.
Gotcha.
Typical vague like story or post where it's like, niggas, need to stop, bringing me up or whatever.
And then, but he still says, but they even hit in his post, he's like, stop the violence, stop the violence. And it's like almost him saying it tongue in cheek. But then to your point, Bobby Shmurda jumps in. For those of you guys who haven't seen the exchange yet, I'll post it when we post this. But bro, in those IG lives, he's literally talking about, bro, if I see you, I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, what? Like, how are you doing this?
Right.
Like, aren't you on parole? Like,
right.
And even if you weren't, like, bro, how are we still snitching on each other, on yourselves in 2023, essentially?
Right. But you know what they love to do? They say all this crazy self-incriminating shit, and then they love to add, no, I was just joking. Feds, like, if you're watching, I was just joking. Like, as if, that's just gonna erase everything.
Yeah, no, that doesn't erase shit for me, bro. Because that was again, I grew up in the era, and we both did, like, where like hip hop was still a sport, right? Like, it was fun to, again, obviously no one got hurt, thank God, but like you were waiting to see what Jay-Z's response was gonna be to Nas and vice versa. Like, that's fun, right? Because that's on wax. It's exciting, blah, blah, blah. We were waiting for Meek Mill to respond to Drake, and it never happened. We're like, oh, fuck, Drake's the man. Bro, when these kind of beefs, though, man, like, you're initially intrigued. It's like, oh, two artists you wouldn't even think are beefing. Like, what's going on? But when it's not even, like, lyrics, it's just, let me hop on IG Live and tell you what I will do to you when I see you. And I was like, bro, this is not even hip-hop anymore. You just happen to be a hip-hop artist as a profession. Like, you sound like a fucking murderer, bro. Like,
right. And the problem is, so not only do they put out the energy and the lyrics and like make people perceive them a certain way, but I'm sure they internalize it. And if they're out in public, they're thinking to themselves, I portray myself this way. So if I'm in any of these situations, like someone wants my chain, someone calls me a bitch or whatever, like, I can't sacrifice my reputation. I have to shoot. I have to, take them out. Otherwise I'm going to look like a bitch. And they basically hypnotize themselves, or whatever you want to call it, to behaving the way they claim they only do for the art or whatever. It's just crazy.
It's crazy, bro. It's really crazy, man. Like, again, I don't even know what NBA YoungBoy's responses were, because I was just so, like, when I was seeing the exchanges, just like so like dumbfounded by all the shit that Bobby Shmurda would. And to your point, like, dude, since he's been out for like a year and a half, he just seems like the happiest guy. So it's like, bro, what do you even, like, why? Again, you could be mad at someone for checking your boy, but to say that shit on the internet where it's gonna live forever, and like, God forbid, like, either you bring energy which you don't want right now, or that is used in a courtroom to get your ass back in jail, bro. Like, that is wild to me.
And I don't even think the way Rowdy Rebel phrased everything, like, even if you disagree with him, I don't think he framed it in like a super disrespectful, like, F Quando and NBA YoungBoy type of way. It was just kind of like, he doesn't think what happened was necessary, essentially, which you could argue, there's nothing wrong with what he really said, even if it was kind of like a self-defense situation. So I'm not too sure why NBA YoungBoy was that hurt by it, but then again, it doesn't involve anyone that's like close to me, so
sure,
who am I to say like he shouldn't get pissed off?
So wait, but so from what we know, is like NBA YoungBoy and that crew like close?
He and Quando Rondo are like super tight knit, apparently.
Oh, I didn't know that. Know that. So NBA YoungBoy that would never hop on a track with like Little Durk then?
No, never. I think they would quite literally murder each other.
Interesting. We always talk about this, and like the running joke for anyone listening for the first time is that Blair and I don't understand how YoungBoy is so famous. And maybe it's because we haven't listened to like a full album or anything, but obviously we respect the numbers he does. But yeah, I wasn't aware that like he's like literally like his own bubble. Like, I thought he like, because I know he collabed with like Tyler. But I guess Tyler the Creator is not really down with any gangs or anything, but
no. And I think NBA YoungBoy is one of those artists that like a lot of people will collaborate with him, just given how like popular and talented he is. But I know Quando is he's actually signed to NBA YoungBoy, so
Gotcha.
I think their relationship was
a little bit different,
tight-knit
like
through
deeper.
that. Yeah.
Gotcha. It's not just a feature he, was
Right.
fucking around with. Gotcha. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Why he may take offense to it, but what escalated? I mean, again, maybe it doesn't even escalate. It was just a back and forth on IG Live, and we can, like, God willing, nothing comes from it. But it was just crazy to see, especially again, like, not to say Bobby Shmurda is like on the top of the world, but bro, you're a free man for almost 2 years now. You claim you're making all this money from residuals and the money you got back when you came out. It's like, bro, why even engage in this?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. But again, man, a lot of this shit doesn't make sense, and that's how, unfortunately, we keep hearing about, rapper getting, blown away. So it's just wild. Right? Anything else you want to add to that, though?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward. I mean, obviously we want to stop the violence. It's just sad to see artists who are making money, like good money that a lot of us would wish to have, for some reason find the need to just create problems that never existed before.
That weren't a thing.
On the internet. Yeah.
Yeah. On the internet. Right. It's not even like, let me call this dude real quick. It's like, let me not call him, but let the entire world know I'm mad at him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of artists who, I guess the industry wanted to beef, but a beef was never there to have in the first place. Nas and 21 Savage collab on today is November 29th. So that song dropped at some point this evening. I think it's called One Mic, One Gun. Quick song, 2 minutes and 49 seconds, and it's Hit Boy produced, obviously. Like, dude, whatever this Nas and 21 like fake pseudo beef was, the real winner is Hit Boy. Cause like, bro, this guy cannot stop losing. I mean, stop winning, bro. Like, it's fucking insane how like any beat, dude, everyone's gonna sound good. So obviously we jump into the song, but the song is about like them almost like laughing at everyone, including us, for being idiots and even thinking that the comments at 21 Savage were remotely offensive, and Nas clearly being above all this shit. So what were your thoughts on the song itself?
Yeah. I mean, I was super excited. I thought it was a great moment, an example that these two gentlemen set, because there's always this rivalry between the old heads and the new heads, if you will. But the song itself, I thought was really enjoyable. Hit Boy is my favorite producer of the new era.
I feel like it's not even close right now.
No, like he's godly, so versatile, and just great. He brings out the greatest aspect of every artist I feel like he works with. I know we're gonna get to Saweetie later, but the one song I love of hers he produced, and I'm like, this motherfucker can make a hit for anybody, or a banger.
Except for the game. I think the game is
oh yeah,
expected.
how could I forget? Take what I said back. But yeah, the song, I thought it was great. I think the overall sentiment was awesome. I think 21 continues to show that while he's not, up there with Nas in terms of lyricism, he's still clever enough for you to appreciate what he has to say. In terms of like replay value, for me personally, I don't think I'll end up replaying it a lot, because I feel like it's so specific to this moment. Yeah. It's like a response, really.
Yes.
And I feel like he performs better on like his typical trap beats. I thought at times it kind of felt
You mean 21?
forced. Yeah. Like sometimes it felt like a little forced in terms of him being on the instrumental. But outside of that, I mean, I have no complaints. I think it was a brilliant move on both of their parts.
Yeah, so I would agree with that. I think it's more like a phenomenal moment for hip hop, right? Because it goes against everything that we were just talking about other rappers, right? Like in modern day, you even utter a word that may be taken as disrespect, bro, I better not see you for a couple years. You know what I mean? And this was clearly the complete opposite of that, bro, because dude, we were saying like respect. Thank you for the engagement to everyone who commented on the TikTok and YouTube, but everyone was saying, this is fucking disrespectful. How dare 21 Savage? Who the fuck is he? And then, dude, this is literally Nas putting his arm around him and saying, no, bro, you're that fucking dude. Dude, if you wanted to make a comment, dude, don't even clarify it for me. Like, I already trust you, blah, blah, blah. So that was dope. And then honestly, bro, I think what it also brought out, it's like there's probably only like 2 other OGs that even have the capability of doing this, bro. Because like it's really just Jay-Z and Nas. Like, in all respect to him, LL Cool J could be offended by whoever rapper from today. Fam, if he even tried to jump on a record with a new rapper, it will look bad, bro. Yeah. It's like those videos of like the varsity basketball team that plays the alumni of like 40 years ago. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, like we get you were a star, but those shots aren't gonna work today. And I feel like that was the cool thing about this song is that Nas, it's very clear Nas is established on Mount Rushmore of hip hop, but dude, he can also do exactly, if not better, what people are trying to achieve today in music. So that was a cool part, but it also made me think it's like, bro, there's probably like maybe three, like it has to be like Nas, Jay-Z, Raekwon, like that's about it, bro. You know what I mean? Like who else from that time, right? Because like even like Fat Joe is relevant today, but it's not because of music, bro. It's because of whatever business ventures, and he's keeping certain things alive, and he has his own podcast, blah blah blah. It's not because of fucking new songs or anything. So that was cool to hear. Because, like, the dude, Nas is that fucking dude still.
Yeah, no, well said. Nas is one of those guys I continue to enjoy hearing. Same with Jay-Z. Somehow they've been able to evolve and still sound refreshing, even if, their themes and stuff, are completely different than what they might have been 20 years ago or whatever. So I think it's dope. And I hope it, like, triggers more willingness to collaborate with quote unquote old heads. And like you said, it's not gonna work for every single person. Like I don't think KRS-One and Travis Scott are gonna make like
right. But there could be one that we're not even thinking about that could work, right? Like if and I don't even know, because he just seems corny today, but wasn't corny like 15 years ago. Like Nelly on a track with someone today that produced like a really southern trap beat that just made sense for his flow. You know what I mean? So like, but it's hard, bro, because like I don't want to poo-poo the hip hop we listened to like 15 years ago, but bro, there's really not a lot of dudes that aged very well. Like obviously Lil Wayne, but like Lil Wayne was young when we were young. You know what I mean? Lil Wayne's like still young to me. Like I know he's been around forever, but he's young. I'm talking about like dudes who are like in their 50s. Like, bro, there's really not any rapper right now from that time frame really that can come back and just say, yo, get me Lil Durk. Let's make a song together. It's like, fuck, why? Yeah. Like, why would we do this?
Yeah, I'd agree with that and be skeptical of them being able to perform with like say a Lil Durk or whatnot. I think it's hard for me to say with 100% certainty just because a lot of these guys, I haven't heard shit from them in like 10 years. So I'm like, can they even do a song in with fucking, I don't know, like Paul Wall or some shit on some beat from 15 years ago? I don't know, maybe. But I think a lot of those dudes 3000. Andre 3000. Yeah, he's perfect. And one of those guys that's still like relevant if he decides to do something. But I think
we've heard him on like Cudi shit and Travis Scott. And that makes sense, right? Like, I think it's like a handful.
Yeah. And I think they're good at adapting to the sound. I feel like some of those older guys might stick with the same boom bap flow over like super intense.
Back in the day when I was it's like, bro,
like that shit would sound crazy. Actually, Mystical. I mean, I know he's not really like a super old head rapper, but
I mean, close enough though.
Yeah, but there was, I mean, you know, back the kind of beats that like Lil Wayne and Drake would rap on in like 2010 and shit. I forget who the producer was, but that kind of sound, Mystical, when he was making his comeback, which was cut short for some reason, but he rapped on one of those, legal reasons. He raps on one of those beats, and I was like, oh shit, like he actually did a really good job on this beat, and it sounded like he hadn't left. But I think he's a rare breed because his flow's not conventional. It's not the back in the day, blah 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 type beat.
For sure. No, that's a good point. Damn, bro, that'd be a fun. Like, who else, man? Because I know we're missing people, but I don't know, bro. It's tough because again, like that was like the running joke. I guess like maybe T.I., but I don't consider T.I. that. Oh, maybe Busta Rhymes.
Well, Busta Rhymes, that's a perfect one. Yeah,
I I can see Busta Rhymes with some shit. I mean, I think Busta Rhymes has proven that, right? He'll come out with a random song like
he just had a mixtape out.
That Chris Brown song from back in the day is a great example. Like, I mean, he was already an old head at that point, and he still jumped on that and was phenomenal. But yeah, again, I was just super impressed by Nas, bro. Like, it was a marketing. Not marketing, because the song's not going to go and do like 10 million copies sold or whatever. But in the moment we're in right now, where everyone's just like kind of in between this holiday stage, and there's not a lot of news in the in the ethos, like, yo, yeah, let me just fucking drop this song with this kid and just laugh at everyone who actually try to make this a big deal.
Right. And speaking of backlash, I mean, we not to derail it, but we actually experienced it when we made the most minor comparisons between Jack Harlow and like early Mac Miller. And people like refused to even acknowledge that Mac Miller had done anything in the past that was considered like frat rap or mediocre
or corny in any way.
Yeah. So it just goes to show how like sensitive people are with their musical preferences.
Or their musical like gods, to be perfectly honest. Like, it's the people who like you just cannot speak about.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, like you're not talking about my guy. Like, it's It's like, yo, no, let's just talk about it. Like, no, you're not talking about it. Like, I will not tolerate any disrespect.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, that's too. But side note, if you had to put Jack Harlow's 2022 like in summary, what would you say about his year?
2022, I'd say it was lackluster. I'm sure his bank account would disagree with me.
Oh, but super disagree, bro. That motherfucker is the happiest he's ever been.
Yeah. Like, and I don't blame him. Like, shit, I would love to fucking be in his position. Like, I'm sure he's gonna be in movies and all kinds of shit. But in terms of like the hip hop scene, I think expectations were not met. He capitalized, maybe intentionally, not intentionally, on the female market that absolutely adores him. And I think that's going to take him out of the race in terms of being one of the top lyricists of the genre. He's going to end up being more party pop friendly, commercial. And if he's cool with
Which
that,
is fine.
cool with that.
Like, we're not saying, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. It's just, I think we both thought there was like, oh, wow, is this like white kid from Kentucky going to be like the guy?
Yeah.
And I think, this year has proven no. You know what I mean? Like, it's, because even I go back to like, bro, like, even if we say that, and I think Drake agreed on the Rap Radar interview, like during COVID, that his first album wasn't what he wanted it to be, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, we already just heard the most fire mixtape by him that we were like, all right, you just had a miss, but you're still that guy. Like, I think you and I were like, we don't have anything from Jack to really justify anything moving forward that says, oh, this was just a blip. Because, like, we really have a couple of songs that we really fucking love. Right. And then it's not like a body of work that we're like, yo, that was fire, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's just like, all right.
Yeah. And I think we talked about it short after reviewing the Jack album. And I think you may have asked me, you know, how does he redeem himself? Like, what if you're him, what do you do now? And I was like, if he wants to redeem himself, he has to drop at least one, like, just undeniable banger that overshadows the album and gives people like a glimpse of hope that he might, like, he just did that shit to get on and get a bunch of money, but he's gonna come with the heat next. But it doesn't seem like that happened. He's just on tour and like raking in.
Yeah, dude, he did at SNL. I didn't watch the SNL, but I heard the reviews were phenomenal, like, by everyone. Like, he did a great job on SNL, so maybe acting is the next move for him, like, seriously. So, yeah, because I was just curious, bro, because, again, like, it's weird, like you said, like, critically, probably not the year he would have expected, right? I think people thought, like, because especially, dude, after that fucking interview he did on LeBron's show, like, the barbershop thing, the shop, where he's like, he was so anal about like how he decided, like, I know what a hit is. It's like, bro, no, you don't. First of all, you know what I mean? Like, so let's, like, but like the fact that he had the courage to say shit like that, I think raised the bar for him. But it's wild. Like, he can, his like counter argument can be like, bro, I had the #1 song in the country for a couple of weeks. My album sold well. I'm wrapping up White Man Can't Jump. I hosted SNL. I have 2 Grammy nominations. bro, this is the greatest year of my life. So it's just crazy how, like, you know, the fans' perspective, the observer's perspective, and then the artist's perspective can be so, like, on different spectrums.
Yeah.
But everyone is still kind of right, you know?
Mm-hmm. But I know, like, with every artist, I think even Lil Pump kind of was salty about people saying he fell off. Like, if they are being challenged on their reputation within the genre, they immediately latch onto, like, oh, well, I'm commercially successful, I got all this money, so how did I fall off? Like, my watch doesn't say I fell off or whatever.
Yeah. And that's like the baby's been saying that a lot. Like, oh, I fell off, and then he's like, you know, in front of like 1,000 cars that he owns or whatever.
Yeah. But I mean, the fact of the matter is, the people that are invested in, you know, the sound of hip hop and, you know, looking out for who's the next pioneer and who's gonna be regarded as one of the best to ever do it, I think he's falling behind if he even gives a shit about being one of those people. Yeah.
And then again, that's like not the alarming part, bro, because I feel like, I feel 2022, when we do our year review, like, in a couple of weeks, like, I think we actually got a good amount of good music. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think I enjoyed a few things that I listened to today, but I think at some point, like, the end, like, I keep making fucking basketball analogies this episode, so I apologize, but, like, at some point, the NBA was panicking when, like, Jordan retired, right? And they were like, all right, bro, like, who's the next Jordan? Like, who? And that fucking mantle crushed a bunch of people, bro, like a bunch of different athletes. Eddie Jones, Michael Finn, like Vince Carter, right? They never lived up to the hype. And then thankfully, you know, LeBron and Kobe Bryant came along, and like the NBA continued. Like, hip hop will continue forever. But I think we're in that stage now that we're like, all right, bro, like, Drake is going to be Drake, and he's always going to be relevant, to use that phrase again. Yeah. But bro, who really is the next person? Because, and I know we kind of spoke about this last year, and I brought up A$AP Rocky. Like, again, like, I know Travis is back, but is he though? You know what I mean? Like, is he really? Because he just dropped that song with Pharrell.
Yeah.
I never texted you about that song. You never texted me about that song.
I actually like it more I've heard it, but it's not to the level of, damn,
it's not a moment for you, right? Like, I'm not fucking screenshotting my phone and like, Blair, listen to this now. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's just, he's out here, and like, we're not allowing it, but we're like, yeah, dude, he's back. But there's not even that like aura about him right now musically. So like, I'm really curious, bro, about these next like 3 to 4 years. Like, is there going to be like a clear-cut wonder kid, right? That just, or Wonder Girl, whatever, like, who just is like, yo, this person is the voice of hip hop for the next 5 to 10 years coming, right? Because like, dude, I feel like even going back to when Drake was first coming out, we were all like, bro, I remember listening to the radio, and they were like, bro, this guy is it. Like, bro, this is it. And that was fucking 10 years ago, when they didn't even envision it'd be this, bro, because no one thought it'd be this.
Right.
They probably just thought, oh, he'll be like a Lil Wayne again, you know, part 2 of Lil Wayne. So, dude, that's like the only like alarming part of hip hop right now. It's like, bro, like, we can say it's NBA YoungBoy, but bro, it's not. You know what I mean? Like, that feels like it's again, the numbers say he's massive, but bro, that still feels very niche, if I'm being perfectly frank.
No, I'd agree with that.
So it's just like, bro, who the fuck is going to be that one? Again, we love 21 Savage, but to me, he's almost like, I see him forever just being this. Like, he's going to be your hip hop artist's favorite artist. You know what I mean? As opposed to the guy who runs hip hop. So that's going to be very intriguing going into next year. Not like, what's the new music going to be that we love? It's like, who's the next guy, bro? We can say we may have thought a year ago was Lil Baby. Bro, it's not. You know what I mean? Like, bro, it's not. So, like, this is a very interesting time.
Oh, 100%. And I think for me, like, I just got an overwhelming feeling, when I heard Drake and Kendrick on the come up, that in my gut, I was like, this is the guy. Like, there's no disputing it. He's going to be one of the guys. Not that either's better than the other, but you just got to sense this motherfucker is going to be around for like 20 years.
Bro, Drake's first tour, yo, Jay-Z was on tour with him. Bro, Drake is 23 years old on tour with Jay-Z. Like, where the fuck is that happening, bro? Like,
and then J. Cole, I remember him going on, was it The Blueprint?
The Blueprint 3.
Yeah, The Blueprint 3. I heard that verse. I fell in love with the verse. I was like, this dude's gonna be around for a long ass fucking time. But
was it Star is Born?
Since, Star is Born. I was obsessed with that song. And ever since then, like, regardless of Lil Baby, NBA YoungBoy, Gunna, like all these people who are obviously successful in their own right, I had never got that feeling.
Like undeniable
talented as fuck.
But yeah,
you didn't get that feeling of these guys are gonna be it, like a Drake or whatever for the next 15 years, like just dominating every conversation, every crowd, every country. Like, I just don't see it.
Yeah, dude. And I think because these other artists, almost like the analogy I made last year to the ASAP, like, because we had a similar conversation for those of you tuning in for the first time last year, like the question that Blair posed to me, like, if Drake and Kendrick and Cole weren't around, who would be that guy, right? And I said ASAP Rocky, but it just feels like ASAP and these other artists, they just have like too many distractions. Whereas, like, I feel like even going back to what you felt, pause, with like Drake and Kendrick 10, 15 years ago, leading up to today, it was always about the music, bro. Like, I don't give a fuck what sneaker Drake is dropping, bro. Like, that's cool, you have multiple businesses, but I feel like with him, he's always been consistent. Kendrick the same, J. Cole the same, bro. Yeah, these guys all have other things they do, but what they do is music. And like, that's undeniable. And I just feel like, which makes me sad about Jack, is like, bro, it's like you got too excited about the other things music gave you right away, as opposed to like, bro, you're a rapper, bro. Just like, I'm not saying only rap, because no, dude, make your money doing everything. But remember what you like love, as opposed to like, bro, you like, apparently like, you just love doing everything and also you happen to be a rapper. It's like, nah, bro.
And I think he admires like Drake especially so much. I think he's like on a fast track to like, he just sees what he could potentially have and he's like, fuck it, this movie deal makes sense, this show makes sense. And I get it, but I think he's already like invested in, like you said, what can music get for me outside of music, as opposed to I need to first like nail my story down and then all this other shit will, you know, I'll have free time and space to let people soak in my music while I do this other shit.
Yeah, dude, you can have shoes with New Balance, you can make movies, like that's, dude, you can do it while you make music, but it just feels like a lot of these artists in the last like 4 or 5 years, and again, we made this comment before with the OGs, like, I think there's just so much money to be made in hip hop right now that they're just so focused on like, how can I get the most of it now, as opposed to like, what's the long-term goal of me being like considered one of the GOATs? And I don't think, like, again, I know like Lil Baby like had the cover and like there was moments, and dude, he ran hip hop during 2020. Like, there's no denying that shit, bro. Like, he was the guy, and I respect it. But like, that was a 1-year run. You know what I mean? Like, he's not the guy anymore, bro. Like, he dropped an album, and I don't care what other people say about the album, bro. Like, I listened to it because we do the podcast, and I have to give an opinion. Dude, there was nothing about that album that made me want to replay that song. No, dude, at all. There's no bars, there's nothing. So it's just crazy how, like, again, Drake just turned 36. Again, he's gonna be here forever, like Jay-Z and Nas are, God willing. But again, he's gonna want to fade away, right? And obviously, J. Cole already fades away whenever the fuck he wants. Kendrick is telling you that he doesn't want to be here anymore. So, and then again, you know this, I love Baby Keem, but Baby Keem is way more of like, again, an artist. You know what I mean? Like, you have to love music to love Baby Keem, but he's not like a rapper, you know what I mean? So, yeah, dude, it's going to be very interesting these next 3 or 4 years, bro, because, again, it's going to happen. And I'm just like, it's going to be funny to see that it's going to be someone that you and I never even fucking heard of. You know what I mean? It's not going to be one of these guys who've been around for 4 or 5 years, because honestly, like, if you were that guy, you'd be that guy by now. You know what I mean? You would take that mantle and run with it. And I feel like no one is even dude, there's no one even close, bro.
Yeah.
Like, there's no one close.
Yep. And I forgot to mention, I mean, I don't think he's necessarily considered even in that tier, but I know Schoolboy Q even has a pretty big, like, I wouldn't say cult following, but
it's cultish.
So many people.
I mean, yeah. I think he's a millionaire because he has a cult following.
Mm-hmm. Like, there's so many people that come across that are obsessed with him, and I would never expect it. I think it's because he has a unique, kind of like old school flow. Like, sometimes
I feel like he's like the West Coast. Is he from the West Coast?
Yeah.
Okay, yep. I feel like he's like to the West Coast, like ASAP Fergus to New York.
Yeah,
it's like 100%. He's an old soul, but he's a part of the new era. But he kind of gets stuck in this like in between, because like no one really fully commits to him. But like if you fuck with him, you fuck. I remember when we went to Rolling Loud, I think 2018, bro. The amount of ASAP Ferg fans, I was like, bro, he only has like 2 songs. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so that's Schoolboy Q is a great example. Like, dude, but a very niche. Like, dude, like you are obsessed with him, or you've never heard of him.
Yeah. And I think what it takes is people are gonna have to. They're just gonna have to have that vibe that brings so many different crowds together and appeals to so many different crowds. And I think Drake has done that. J. Cole, maybe not to the level of Drake, because I think J. Cole's kind of more traditional, but like Kendrick with a lot of his songs. Every fucking person I know, whether they like EDM or whatever, they all love the Mad City song.
Yeah.
That turns up any crowd or party. So yeah, I'm really curious to see who that next guy is. But like you said, I'm pretty sure we have no idea.
No, we never. That dude's in the lab right now, just trying to figure out how to put rhymes with it. Which again, it's exciting for hip hop, right? I still think hip hop's in a good state, without a clear, successor to what Drake is right now.
Yep, for sure.
But speaking about numbers and stuff like that, and this is probably the last topic before we get into some heat of the week. So Atlantic Records is under a lot of scrutiny, and this comes in at a perfect timing, but they're under scrutiny for fans on YouTube claiming that a lot of bots are pushing the views up, making bullshit comments on a bunch of Atlantic artists' records pages. This is like 5 years after they were called out for the similar thing on Post Malone and 21 Savage's hit song Rockstar, that snippet of the song kept counting as like play views, blah, blah, blah. And they were saying that Atlantic Records did that on purpose. And then also in that same sentiment, is Saweetie an Atlantic Records artist?
I can double check. Give me a second.
And so while Blair's looking that up, the only reason we all say that is that she's
Warner Records.
She's Warner Records?
Warner Records. Yeah.
Okay, so she needed Atlantic Records after her sales. So she's under a lot of scrutiny right now, because even though she has close to I want to say 15 million plus followers if you combine. Okay.
Combine it. Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking like TikTok and everything else that she does or whatever. That she only sold 2,000 records her first week. So your thoughts on just, I guess, like the record labels and music, I guess really it's more about the music industry kind of being exposed in this moment right now, where like, just because you see a certain following doesn't really mean someone has followers, you know what I mean? And to give you guys some more behind the scenes, like we've been approaching, we've seen how these things work on a podcast level, right? Like we know for a fact that the numbers that people see isn't accurate of the actual engagement, right? But I would say it's still wild from a Saweetie perspective that number's low, bro. Like aggressively low. Because to go from a female artist who had her own sandwich at McDonald's 2 years ago, where they shut the store down and dude, even to that, bro, apparently no one even showed up to that. So maybe McDonald's got fucking played by her management label to assume she was bigger than she is. But still, like, bro, she's famous enough that you would think people fuck with her. For her to only sell 2,000 copies is wild. And then you see that now record labels are being exposed for just putting in fake engagement. Like, what does that make you feel about? I know we just said hip hop's in a great state, but like, how does that make you feel about then, like, where the music industry is as a whole right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think at a broad level, it's just made me want to care about the numbers less. Not to say that they're not a good, you know, proxy or measurement for like how popular someone is or whether or not it's worth checking something out. But there's just so much, you know, fiddling with the numbers and external factors that are in play that it makes it hard for me to really trust, you know, the success or popularity of someone based on their album sales or their Instagram followers. And, you know, there's some artists where I see they have 30K followers or whatever, and I'll go to their comments and it's like pretty much just like fire emojis and like bots that saying promote this on whatever podcast. Like there's one blogger who I follow, and like damn near all the comments are the promote this on whatever podcast, but he has like 50K followers. And on the flip side, there's some artists I've seen with like 500 or not 500, but like let's say 1,000, 2,000 followers, and they have fucking like 100 comments.
Like 150 comments, like real comments,
real
like
ones.
Paragraphs, like bro.
Yeah, like you changed my life and all this shit. So I don't know. I think everyone's like somewhat aware that, you know, people fake this shit, but I think it's more disturbing when you hear someone getting like a $20 million, let's say McDonald's deal. I don't know how much it was, but
sure. But clearly in the millions, like they're not just giving that shit. Like you can't go from Travis Scott to Saweetie and like not assume it's going to be a big bag, you know?
Right. And 1% of 13 million is 130,000. So not even close to 1% of the so-called followers really tuned in to this album. Granted, Nas only sold what, 28 or something?
25,000?
Yeah. So she sold like 10% of that. I guess, like, obviously they're
but she has way
galaxies.
More followers than
right. That is true. So I think for me, at least, it proves that female rappers, a lot of their success, at least for the mainstream, is contingent upon on how hot and sexy they are and their ability to sell that image. And people are following these people for their looks and personality, not really their songs.
The product. Yeah. Like they're like Saweetie's the product, right? Like we'll buy you, like we'll engage with you. Like if, like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Because it doesn't just mean because we think you have like a beautiful body, we're about to go buy this album or stream your album over and over and over again, right? Which, yeah, it probably says more about the state of female hip hop artists as opposed to the state of like hip hop in general. That's fair. Yeah, and then dude, again, I don't even know if I get mad at like people calling out Atlantic Records, because bro, that just goes to like, dude, I remember back in the day, like when all these like hip hop like labels had like street teams, you know what I mean? And they would just, you know, make a deal with the local DJ and like, bro, from 11 to 12, only play this artist and blah, blah. I mean, dude, it's kind of the same thing. It's just like a different way of doing it now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because I didn't know the algorithm. All right, dude, if we get enough comments in, it'll attract other people, and then those comments are real. So what's to say, like, what's really fake if that's real, blah, blah, blah. Like,
right.
I think they're just trying to play the system in a kind of way.
I get it in a sense too, because I mean, like even for my own music, like I'll pay for ads, and I don't feel icky about it because like there's no other fucking way I'm gonna easily distribute my music to like hundreds or thousands of people. Like I'm not about to go on the street and fucking hand out CDs to like 50 people. And I mean, I guess that is a bit more organic and might have more value over time. But in any case, like, digital marketing is very common and shit like this happens. But I guess it feels more disgusting because these artists are already supposed to be on, and then you got to sift through a ton of like heart emojis and like fucking Greek letters and shit that like mean absolutely nothing to like get a sense of what people are saying. Because I know sometimes even I want to just get the authentic opinion of other people on this song. Like, let's say it's the Tyga I Caramba video. Like, are people offended? Are they not? But then if I got like fucking 500 comments that have stars and like rockets and shit in it, then I'm like, all right, like, are you guys do you guys want us to engage in the music, or are you just trying to force feed this shit to us? And I think that's why people are kind of frustrated with it, because they've already made it. So it's like, why are you even doing this?
Right, because the fans do want to get an honest opinions of other fans, right? Like that's, I think, I mean, obviously we go to concerts, like hear the artist, but you also want to share that experience. Like, for example, I went to see Black Panther this past weekend. I could have easily just waited for it to come out and watch it at home. But dude, I kind of wanted to see other people's reaction. Like, am I crazy for loving it so much? Like, I mean, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's just like, yeah. So it's kind of annoying when, to your point, like you're looking in the comments to see like, yo, am I crazy for loving this song? And then all you see is fucking like crying eyes, happy. It's like, bro, like what is this? Like, really, you can't speak, kind of a thing. Right. But I mean, again, we already know how this shit works. But it's weird when you see it at that level. It's like, bro, like, dude, I've seen you on tour. People love your music. Like, why the fuck do you need this shit? But,
and even for me, like, I think in the beginning I considered doing something along those lines, but after a while I was like, I don't even like care like what other people, how they view, my page, and like, if I have 10 likes or 100. It's more so for me to know, like, is this working? Because if I just buy 1 billion views and bots for every fucking song, I'm never gonna know like what's actually resonating. Yeah. I mean, I'll still buy ads because like that's different because real people are seeing it. But if I buy a bunch of fake views that aren't even ads, and it's just for vanity purposes, and people see this, every song has 100K views, that doesn't really do anything. And then it looks stupid when they go to my Spotify and the song that supposedly has 500,000 views has like 100 plays. Then it's like, what's really going on here? Yeah,
no, totally. No, dude, totally. It's just different, right? I think it's just a different hustle right now. I would say I was more shocked by her sales than the comments section on these people's, Atlanta Records artist page. Because again, 2,000 is some shit that like, yo, what? Like that, just the math doesn't add up, bro. And again, it's like, not to be like, I hope this doesn't come across degrading, but it's almost like, then what are you shaking your ass for? Kind of.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Plus, I don't think she did like any marketing for it.
Bro, I didn't know what fucking song she has out. Like, I didn't even know like.
But I think that's the problem. There was no big single to at least lead up to it. Like, at least Jack Harlow had the first class shit going on for so long. Like, you had no choice but to fucking check out the album. But
correct.
Saweetie didn't have, as to my knowledge, any big singles. And I feel like she's an artist that should be honest with herself and just, she only makes like single type tracks. Like, it's not, deep, in depth, cohesive concepts. It's just shake my ass pussy, like just release it as singles and like see what sticks, and you won't have people fucking making fun of your career.
And then I think she responded with like, well, I only make my music for boss bitches. I'm like, there's only 2,000 boss bitches? I feel like there's more. And that, you know what I mean? Like, right. And I was just like, but again, dude, I'm sure her feelings are hurt. So again, we're not trying to throw any shade, but sometimes you need to observe things and just be like, that seems kind of sketch. But
hit up Hit Boy, Saweetie, if you haven't checked this video out.
Hit Boy, what was the one song you did like by her and Hit Boy?
It was called No L's. And that song wasn't a stereotypical twerk anthem, which she can make. I'm not saying she can't. I'm just saying have a versatile, diverse mix of concepts, and I think people will take your artistry a bit more seriously than they already do.
Yeah, or I mean, if you're gonna make those, dude, be the best at making them then.
Right.
Like, don't make one that's kind of relevant and then we never hear of you again. Because like, what was her number one song? Like, That's My Best Friend? Like, is that?
I think that one with Doja, and then there was another one called like Icy Girl or something.
Icy, yeah. That's when she was still dating like Quavo and down with like.
Yeah, that was like way like 2 years ago or something.
Yeah, bro. Because ever since then, I just find her as she's like the fucking just a hot hip hop girl.
Yeah,
which is fine, bro. She's fucking dude. She's highly attractive. Like that's not even debatable. But yeah, like besides that, like you can be like anyone. Like to me, like you're just like a video vixen at that point. Like you're not like I'm not gonna go buy your shit. So it is what it is, though. But again, shout out to them, and again, hopefully this gave you a little bit more behind the scenes of what goes down on these YouTube pages. So even though our numbers are light, we know people are watching, so we appreciate it. So before we get out of here, bro, what's a heat of the week that you enjoyed during the Thanksgiving break?
Let's see, for me over Thanksgiving break, I really loved, and I know I sent it to you, the Young Dolph Getaway song.
That's mine, bro. You stole mine, bro, but it's all good. So I'll chime in. Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't know. I went into it. I saw he released a song, didn't expect much from it. And I think this was one of the most honestly impressive songs I heard from him. I don't know if I'm kind of biased because he's gone now, but I think the Getaway vocal sample that repeats every so often, his bars perfectly complemented that. And I think what added to the effect for me was the fact that he's like not here, and like he's talking about, not wanting to rap anymore, and it's getting old, and he wants to get away, and he just wants to be with his grandma again. He just needs his drugs to be okay. Like, he was clearly in a dark place, wanted to get away, and he's not here. So I think it added to the whole vibe of the track, that like dark, like I'm going through shit vibe.
Yeah, but so I felt the same way. I think you said in the text, like it's the best possible song after rapper is no longer here. Yeah. And I say that because, like, dude, I remember I was going for a run last summer, I think, and Juice WRLD dropped, I think it's Already Dead, something like that. Bro, that was like a dark song, bro. Like, it was like dark, and it's like, you almost like, you're grateful. Like, I don't even say you're grateful that someone died, but it's like, bro, this guy was clearly unhappy here, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas where Dolph, it felt almost more like, obviously content totally different, but like how I felt when I listened to like Mac Miller on Circles, I think is this the second album, that he's like at peace somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's peaceful, bro. Like, it's like, I'm good, bro. Like, don't worry about me, I'm straight. Whereas like sometimes when I hear Juice's shit, like the stuff after he passed away, I'm like, bro, this guy is so miserable, unfortunately, wherever the hell he is right now as well. Yeah. You know what I mean? So like, that was like almost like the refreshing, that's weird to say that, but the refreshing thing about like these songs that come out when these rappers pass away, unfortunately, or artists, just when artists pass away, is like, it feels so forced. They like, yo, find this bar from that other track and let's add it with this. Like, again, honestly, how we felt when we listened to Pop Smoke's second album. It's like, bro, come on, man. You know, he would never want this shit to come out. Whereas with this, it almost felt like he wrote this shit after he died, but like gave it to us as a gift kind of thing.
Damn. Yeah, you articulated that perfectly. I don't think I've ever heard a posthumous song or like album and thought to myself, like, this was meant to be. It kind of just felt like, all right, they're dead. People are sad. Let's just throw out some tracks.
Let's give them a song, bro. Who do you want the remix? It's like, bro, what? Like,
and like they're rapping about being in the club and shit, and it's so blatantly obvious they're not on Earth doing any of that. Right. Whereas it kind of felt like his spirit was like, I know you guys want some music. Don't worry, I'm good. But here's like a relevant song to how I actually feel in whatever, dimension he's now in. And I thought that was just dope.
And to your point earlier, like, they're super replayable. Like, bro, 100%. I repeat this like 4 or 5 times in the gym.
Oh yeah, same, 100%.
Nice. That's funny, man. Yeah, because that's like the only song that stood out to me the most. I've been on my EDM house SoundCloud mix right now because I'm like, bro, I can't keep listening to Her Lost. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, I need a break from that shit before like I'm trying to play it again for like the New Year's and stuff. But Young Dolph, I'll add that to the plalyst because that song was a no-brainer for me. So I'm glad you actually. I'm glad you sent it to me first. All right, bro. See, let the people know where they can find us. Let's get out of here.
Yes, sir. Check us out at audio-theory.com. We got the Spotify and Apple Music playlist on there, as well as new episode every single week on all platforms. Merch up there as well. Have to double check again on if any new products are available on the site. But in any case, I know it's cold where I'm at. Probably not cold in Florida.
Nah, it's not cold. It's like 85 today.
but I feel like most people viewing are probably in a cold location. So be sure to get a
the
hoodie
hoodies,
or even
the
a
hoodies
t-shirt.
fit great, and they don't shrink. So that's all we can really do for you.
And you might get a interview or two. We'll see. I know time's coming up, but regardless, you know, we'll have somebody very, very soon for you guys.
Yeah, we're working on a couple things. If it's not in December, it'll be first thing in January. So again, we'll keep trying to put you guys on to new artists. And obviously, I think we said it's online, but if not, we're aggressively trying to, you know, push the YouTube content and the TikTok stuff. So definitely people's on those outlets.
Yes, sir.
Awesome, my dude. Well, love you, bro. Glad you had a great Thanksgiving. The tat is fire. Let that heal up, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good, man. Peace.